Released on Christmas of 2013, The Wolf of Wall Street was met with some mixed reviews as it tells the story about a stockbroker named Jordan Belfort, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who started Stratton Oakmont in the early 90s, a firm that uses illegal activities in Wall Street to pocket millions of dollars from investors in buying stock in an epic quest of debauchery that involves copious amounts of drugs and sex throughout its 3-hour runtime. While it is a box office success, has been named one of the best films of the year by many critics and it has been nominated for 5 Academy Awards including Best Picture, it has received criticisms for its moral message that felt ambiguous as it is drowned out by the seemingly positive depiction of terrible people who ripped off millions of dollars from their victims in a hedonistic fashion, along with its gratuitous scenes that involve sex and nudity. I remember when I first saw the trailer for this and, just like a lot of people, I became excited, mainly because this is another Scorsese-DiCaprio collaboration, but it also looks so much different than previous films that they've done before. Instead of a drama, it's a full-out comedy, and a raunchy one at that, something that felt so out of left field from a pair of professionals who take their work very seriously. It looks so crazy from the trailer itself that when the controversy started to come out, I became even more interested in it and wanted to see what it's all about. So I managed to go to a screening one night and came out 3 hours later just mind blown by it all. I absolutely enjoyed the ride through this wild and crazy world of Belfort with his constant parties, non-stop drug use, uncontrollable licentious behavior, and just the overall revealing look of the effect of money it can have on a person. This is a dark comedy that deals heavily on extensive criminal activities that we rarely see being told on the big screen, but is a very vibrant looking film with its colors and bright tone that helps gives off the sense of fun and excitement that these characters are going through. The reason being is because they managed to fool so many people that allow them to have unlimited amounts of money flowing into their pockets, all thanks to the insider experience of Belfort, and as more and more comes in and they spend and spend more of it, they can't stop. As Belfort said in the beginning of the film, money is the best drug in the world, and once people get a taste of that first million, they want more of it. And the more they get, the more they feel powerful, like they are the king of the mountain, inflating their egos to a point where they feel that they are above the law and they just don't give a flying fuck who they destroy because their insatiable greed is all that it matters. The moment I realized what this movie is about was when Belfort talks about an employee who came to him for money and how he graciously gave her $25,000. This gives off a sense of insecurity from these people, like they cannot survive if they do not have the money, and lots of it. But even if they have more than enough to live off from for the rest of their lives, because they spend so much of it by buying expensive things, they need more of it just to make themselves feel good, and it comes off as pathetic. And no one is guiltier of that than of the main character, Jordan Belfort himself. DiCaprio as Belfort has to be my favorite performance by him. It is so different from his past work where he usually took on more serious and troubled characters. In a way, Belfort is a troubled character, but from what it is shown, is from a more comedic and even a self-deprecating tone. People have criticized his portrayal as looking more like the hero of the film, but I don't understand how people could come to that conclusion. Sure, I may have laughed a lot, but I felt like I was laughing at him rather than laughing with him. It also doesn't cast any judgment on any of the characters, but that's usually typical of a Scorsese film. The great thing about Scorsese is that he doesn't force his opinion on the audience, but show his characters that allow them to be as they are without any hindrance to their characterization that could affect the storytelling. And based off from what I saw of Belfort, he is ambitious and did come off in the beginning as someone who wanted to be the best at his job. But when he loses his job because of an economic crisis, that insecurity kicked in, but he managed to pull himself out, but along the way he became arrogant, selfish, and conceited with a hint of entitlement. What DiCaprio delivered is an out-of-this-world performance that is just incredible as it is hilarious, going all the way to show us somebody who saw himself as a demigod with false bravado. The other actors also managed to stand toe-to-toe with him, like Jonah Hill as Donnie Azoff, Belfort's best friend and right-hand man. He was seduced by the show of easy money and just allows himself to lose all senses, and Hill just nails the degrading quality of his character as someone who just doesn't care about anybody except for himself and his quote-unquote best friend. Newcomer Margot Robbie plays as Belfort's second wife Naomi, who also gets sucked into his world but manages to see the hollowness of it all when he gets put under surveillance by the FBI led by Patrick Denham, played by Kyle Chandler, who is the moral center of the film. Other actors like Rob Reiner, Jean Dujardin, and Matthew McConaughey add spice to the whole story with their own take on how deep the level of corruption it can go and how much of it can be influenced or even encouraged. The pacing is long and I do feel its length, but with its sharp writing and dialogue by Terrence Winter, the fast-paced scene edits and cinematography, and the eccentric performances, it kept me invested throughout and I do not mind it at all. In fact, maybe its excessive runtime is necessary to really show just how far down these people went in terms of their morality, because it just stacks upon each other to the point that it made a big impact with the ending of the film for me. It shows just how much Belfort managed to get away with essentially a slap on the wrist and recover his reputation that he is giving seminars to people who are willing to accept his word, even though he is a convicted felon. But they don't care because he managed to become successful in one point of his life, even though it nearly destroyed him. And that to me is the message of the film. Money matters to people, no matter who it is, and having seen people spend so much of it on lottery tickets while working at a grocery store, it makes so much sense to me. This is a one-way trip to hell on a roller coaster and I enjoy every minute of it. Quirky and just downright bonkers at points, The Wolf of Wall Street is electrifying in every aspect, from the writing, the look of the film, and especially of DiCaprio's performance. It's a bold movie that strips his story naked to get to the nastiness of it all that not everybody may get, and I understand that. But for me, it's a cinematic one-of-a-kind film that fires on all cylinders and is something I would revisit anytime.
Question they asking, can be question you asking.